Hey everybody, this is Joe on the Okie Woodsman channel. I just want to real quickly address a few questions and suggestions on the 562XP issue video that I posted recently. A lot of good suggestions, people talking about kinked fuel lines, talking about certainly the air cleaner, clogged fuel filters, stuff like that. This saw, if I had to estimate it, I could be completely wrong, but I believe it has, I wouldn't be surprised if it has less than 30 hours on it. If I do get it into the shop, I will go ahead and have it plugged in and we'll see what it's at. So fuel filters on all of the equipment I've had throughout my entire life, whether it be outdoor power equipment, string trimmers, blowers, all that stuff, I've really never had an issue with fuel filters clogging up. Now, that doesn't mean it can't happen. How often do you replace your fuel filters on your saws? I would like to see the range, okay? Again, I try to be fairly careful with my fuel getting real dirty. I know it happens, it can happen, you know, especially with saw chips and so forth. But remember, I'm not running these saws day in and day out every single day. And when I do run them, I'm often moving between saws because I'm testing things. I'm using different saws because I enjoy it, right? So go ahead and let me know on that. Now, I will address the dust issue. Certainly there was dust, and the most of it happened when my hand filing went awry. And I'll just give you a quick little insight what happened there, and I will make a video on this, but I had a brand new Oregon chain that I took a 7/32 file through. I filed it like 4 times lightly with not a brand new file. It wasn't removing a lot of material. What happened is, I believe what happened is the radius didn't match the chain's radius. So I basically took a hook and I basically bludgeoned it, okay? Because I didn't file enough. I was trying to be conservative because I've had a lot of comments, and now of course, I also want to don't use up my chains so quickly, but at the same time, you know, I had a lot of people when I was using the grinder saying that I was wasting chain, but one of the things that I've maintained is that a chain's not sharp until it's sharp. I thought I could real quickly just give a few little touch-up swipes on there, but I made the mistake. My chain was not trained yet. So that's what happened on that hand filing. I can hand file and get better results than what you saw there, but I had to include that in there. And I had to include it without explanation because that video is already 45 minutes long. Really hard as a creator to be able to share the whole story with you all on that. But I was trying to basically just lay out what happened on the saw. I was asked specifically to take a look at the air cleaner and then also to take a look down the throat of the air of the intake. I can tell you right now, I know for positive there's fines getting into there because I had cleaned this filter not too long ago with water and I was surprised how many fines were in there. Let's take a look together. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, and this saw, I have not touched it since I cut with it last. I haven't started it, I haven't done anything. This is the Oregon chain that I had messed up so royally when I filed. So I did regrind that afterwards because I knew that my profile was just horrendous. This is good cat claw like sharpness here. This was done with my Easy Do grinder. I'm gonna pop this off here. I have not, like I said, this has not been started or touched. I put it away after doing that chain test the other day. We're gonna see some dust, everybody. So let's go ahead and take a look in here. Okay, now, so I have not looked down in here, and like I said, I do expect to see some fines in that intake. And you might even see a finger mark where I wiped it. I was wondering if it was fines or oil. So let's see what we find here. All right, here. So there is definitely, I believe, so you can see that glistening in there, I believe, is oil and fines together. So most certainly, I believe that there is fines getting into this carb. All right, so this is what it looks like, everybody. I have not banged this out, blown it out, or anything. That's what it looks like. So my question for you guys, and this is my understanding about carburation. You have your air and your fuel, right? Obviously, you do not want that fuel being tainted, and you need to have good clean fuel. That's why you have that fuel filter on there, because in order for it to properly, what is it called, atomize or whatever, it's kind of like when you paint a car or use an airbrush. That's the way I think about it. Now, when it comes down to dust or fines getting into the intake, is that more detrimental to the piston, rings, and cylinder, or to the carburetor, or equally? So my thought is this: you have all that air coming in. If you get a little bit of fines, it causes extra abrasion in the cylinder, but I don't think of that as we're messing up the carburetor's adjustability in the auto tune, for example. So please let me know there. This is my thought process. If you can't get fines into the saw because it's that fragile, obviously we don't want fines. Not every cutting circumstance is optimal. I'm thinking about if you're cutting dead wood. If you have to cut up a dead wood, it's going to dust. It's not going to chip. So again, can you not run this saw in anything other than perfectly fluffy chips coming out? I know that's optimal, right? There's a difference between optimal and what we all do at the end of the day when we got one more cut to go, right? Or if, gosh dang, let's say it's a fire. That's hard on chains. Dead wood, fire, different types of wood. If you notice in that video, I'll go ahead and post a couple clips, but even the brand new chains had good chips, and then there was still plenty of dust coming off. That Sycamore, it dusted a lot. It's not like my Pine. My Pine has more of a chip and like larger dust. This Sycamore had more dust. And then of course I compounded it with a dull chain in that one scenario. So guys, let me know your thoughts. I'm just trying to I want to be educated on this. I want to learn, and I want people to know if it's the case that this can only be run in the best of best circumstances, or else it's going to get damaged because it got a little bit of fines in the carb. And guys, this does not, yeah, I could clean this, but this does not, I mean, I know some of y'all clean your saw religiously like it's brand new every single day. I don't. And I think 95% of the chainsaw people, 95% of the chainsaw owners, and I know a bunch of professionals don't do it, because half of them don't even sharpen their chains. They buy new chains. So, and I know they're not replacing their air cleaner every day. Help me to understand, is this a 562 issue? Is this I have a unique circumstance with my saw issue, or is it negligence on my part? I do not want to go into the dealership and say, hey, I've got a warranty problem again if I caused it. And I don't think I caused it personally. I don't have enough time on this. I'm not a professional. This thing does not run all the time. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put this back together the way it is. I'm not going to touch nothing on it. And I'm going to just start this up cold. Like I said, it is ambient temperature right now because it's been sitting for days since I was at that job. And I always do that. There we go. All right. So I was also told to go ahead and pump the bulb more slowly. One, like wait a second between it. This feels squishy as all get out, everybody. And then I've also been told many of you say that you don't prime it or pump it at all. Okay, actually, you know what? It does look like it's sucking more fuel in there. So to the person that said, hey, you're going too fast, that could very well have been my issue. Look at that, it's good and full. Now, what if it's a heat-related leak, right? What if the fuel system gets a leak once it's hot? I don't know. All right, so I think we're up. I'm gonna just drop start this thing. Okay, that's normal starting sequence. Recorded idling. So I can tell you right now, I'm not going to go run to the dealership. Somebody actually said, hey, when you know there's an issue, stop. I completely agree with that. But remember, there's a variable here on this saw. It's got a carburetor that's adjusting, right? So had that issue arisen with like a regular carbureted saw and it sounded like it was getting lean in a hurry, I would absolutely stop, because I don't want an air leak to destroy the saw. This sucker here, that's the variable with auto tune. Now that I think about it, is you've got a layer of complexity on top of just a high and a low jet that you adjusted, right? So as it changes, if an air leak comes and goes, if it's temperature related air leak, I don't know, it's going to compensate for that. How can if I take it to the dealership, they're gonna run it for about that long and say it's good. I mean, they might let it idle out back for a little while, but they don't have logs. I'm gonna get it right back and nothing, it will have been updated again and that's it. Nothing will happen. So I need to kind of get an idea of what's going on here with this saw. Guys, thank you for watching. This is supposed to be a short little video on this to help kind of share my thought process in the troubleshooting, why I'm not just taking it to the dealer. Again, we don't have real saw shops in Oklahoma. There's really not a saw shop around. Zero Mark, he mentioned that down in Tulsa, there's Husqvarna dealers. They don't even work on 5 Series saws. They just don't work on them. They're like, sorry, we don't touch them. Guys, he has to come to a dealer closer to me from the metro, more close to the rural, which is still far from me, in order to get somebody that will even hook this up to a computer. Guys, Husqvarna in my region is not common. So I don't have the option like going to like the greasy shop rag up there up north, man. What an awesome, awesome opportunity for you all that have great shops nearby. In fact, I would really like to know his opinion on this. I don't know if he'll see it. Guys, thank you so much again. This is Joe on the Okie Woodsman channel. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I started thinking about it and realized I need to make this video. See you on the next one.